and welcome. My name is Thim ponnappa, and today I'm going to talk a little bit and demonstrate the art of making Pandi curry. What is Pandi curry? Pandi curry is an exotic pork dish cooked with very typical South Indian spices. Especially it's a delicacy in this extremely special and unique place called kodava. And this dish, Pandi curry, has been profiled by a lot of culinary shows and cooking magazines. However, the dish is still undermarketed, and the objective of this video is to market the dish a little more, and also to burst some of the myths around it, that it is difficult to cook and you need to be a great cook to make Pandi curry. No, you don't necessarily have to be. And so I'll demonstrate a very simple and easy way of making Pandi curry. As is the case with any meat, lamb, beef or anything, even with Pandi curry, choosing the right cut is extremely important. So what is the right cut? So here we have the fleshy part of it, which forms the bulk of the meat, and then like most other meat, bone is extremely important. So you have to have a bit of bone to make the Pandi curry tasty. And personally, I prefer ribs, but any bone would be good. And ribs would be, something like this. And then you have to have a little bit of the outer layer of the animal, something that looks like this, the small pieces. So it's going to be a mix of fat, bone, and the actual flesh. Most of the bulk should have the flesh, and then a little bit of bones and the fat as well. As you can see, I've cut the meat into small pieces. I personally prefer small cubes of about 1 inch to 1.5 inches and not bigger pieces. And once the meat is cut, you marinate it with 3 very common Indian spices: salt, obviously, and turmeric and red chili powder. So you sprinkle. I don't want to give the exact quantity of the ingredients, because then it becomes like a chemistry experiment, and I would leave it to your judgment, the amount of spice you need. But these are the 3 most important spices that you marinate the meat with: red chili powder, turmeric powder, and salt. Once I mix the turmeric, chili and salt with the meat, I would let it marinate for a while. If you can marinate it overnight, it's great, but about 3 to 4 hours should be good enough, and the meat will look something like this, orange or reddish in color. And then the next step is an extremely important step. You have to grind these very typically available spices, and the spices include onions. Onions, I prefer shallots. I'm a big fan of shallots compared to onions. Garlic, coriander or cilantro, ginger, cloves, cinnamon, cumin seeds, and green chilies. You mix them in a blender and grind it coarsely. This is how the coarsely ground paste looks like. The green color is mostly because of coriander leaves or cilantro. So I mix it with the marinated meat and mix it thoroughly. And once you mix it, let it settle down for a couple of hours, and if you can wait longer, it's always better. Okay, I've now mixed the ground paste to the meat. The paste is very strong in flavor and taste, and I would typically give it a couple of hours to blend with the meat. And now the meat is ready for cooking. So I'm using a vessel like this to cook the meat, and I would like to give a couple of important tips. A lot of people have used pressure cooker to cook the pork, and it is absolutely not necessary. I've seen Pandi curry getting messed up because of the use of pressure cooker. It is definitely not required, and a vessel like this would definitely do a good job of cooking it. And there is no need to add any oil, because the meat has enough fat for it to cook in itself. And there's no need to add the water as well, because the onion, coriander leaves and things like that give out a lot of water, which is adequate. So I'll start cooking the meat in a very low flame, and then every few minutes you'll have to just keep stirring it until the meat is cooked. And I suggest that you keep checking if the meat is cooked. It will take a while because you're cooking it in very low flame, but checking it every 10-15 minutes would definitely help. In the meanwhile, you can make use of the time to prepare the pork masala. A lot of places pork masala is available ready-made, but for people who do not have access to it, you can make the masala yourself. And the way to make masala is use the ingredients like black pepper, cinnamon, coriander, a lot of coriander, cloves, and cumin. Roast it, dry roast it, and once it is roasted, you can make a powder out of it and keep it ready. It's a fine powder made of these roasted ingredients that I just spoke about. All right, it's taken close to an hour, but the meat is almost cooked. I usually test it just by poking the wooden spatula into it. If it goes into the meat and cuts it, it's an good indicator that the meat has cooked. In the meanwhile, I've got the pork masala ready, the roasted powder of spices that I spoke about. So I think I'm using so much in quantity. Depends on how spicy and how pungent you want the pandi curry to be. So I add the masala to the meat and mix it well, and it has to cook a little more so that the masala blends well with the meat. And then I'll simmer it and cook for another 10 minutes. So the pork masala is mixed well with the meat and it is cooked and ready for the last step. And the last step is perhaps the most important and the real taste maker. It's known as kachampuli, and it's a tart vinegar made out of a berry, the botanical name of which is Garcinia gummi gutta. The berry is found in Western Ghats in the southern part of India, and there's a vinegar that is extracted out of it. Unfortunately, it's not available in most places. Bangalore is perhaps the one place where you can get it, and that is the key taste maker to pandi curry. There could be some substitutes for it, mostly tangy tart vinegar, but I don't think anything can add the kind of flavor and the taste that kachampuli brings in. So I've just mixed kachampuli with the pandi curry, and the meat will not cook once you mix it with kachampuli, and that is the last step. And I also add a lot of curry leaves. It adds a lot of flavor to the meat, and I just add the curry leaves and stir it a little bit and mix it well, and pandi curry is ready, and the bottles can open.